大家好，欢迎收看《旁观华尔街视角》。华尔街股票市场是今天呈现下降了，昨天出现大幅上升，所以看得出来这两天是又升又降，进一步退一步，原地踏步。这种情况下，投资人应该怎么办？当然，长期投资人一般呢不要受市场变动影响你的情绪。但是目前长期投资人是不是还适合当今的经济以及产业结构迅速转变的状况？昨天看好的一些公司，或者去年看好一些公司，今年就可能遇到了竞争对手，或者是产业已经又开始很快的不适应再向前发展的这个大的经济环境了。所以您长期持有这样的股，是不是合适呢？所以我们可能也要适当的调整一下自己的投资理念，也要适当的对你的投资组合进行不断的更新调整。我们知道标准普尔500指数、道琼斯平均工业指数，甚至纳斯达克综合指数，他们都对自己的成分股不断的进行的调整。所以呢，散户投资人也应该是这样。如果说您是自己选股的话，那么怎么样能够选对股？怎么样能够跟上目前的时势，而不落后，而不遭到市场的大幅震荡的损害呢？当然，首先要认清市场的状况，然后制定您的投资策略。今天我们的专家是Mish Schneider，他首先帮我们分析一下目前美股市场处在一种什么样的状态。
Well, right now the market is in a holding pattern, which makes a lot of sense.Considering that we've had the recent rise in the yields, and even though they've come off, it's not been to any great degree. The bond buying program by the Federal Reserve, even though they're saying they're going to continue it, we really haven't seen a lot of evidence in it. If you look at the junk bonds, which was a place where the Fed was buying bonds, was the high yield companies and the high risk companies, that has come off. It's sitting right at a precipice right here.And the market's looking for the stimulus, the $1.9 trillion package, which even though it passed the House, I think there's issues in terms of whether or not it's going to sail through the Senate. And so the market's optimistic because we're seeing lots of good news about vaccines and lots of Americans that have already had the vaccine and the anticipation that everything's going to reopen in the next few months on one level. And on the other level, we have the fragility of the employment situation in the United States with the unemployment numbers coming out this Friday, and the Fed's focused on that. And so if we can't get through this next little hump of potential danger with the economy and the labor market, and we don't get that money coming in, and the Fed doesn't come in or something, it could go down. So right now we're sitting like right there near the highs.But I like to say the floorboards are creaking a little bit.
好，接下来在这样的一个状况之下，我们是怎么样进行一个投资组合的调整？哪些行业现在在经济遭到疫情袭击之后重新开封，那么能够继续持久？而哪些行业已经不再适用？您曾经持有的，现在就应该出手呢
？So I would say it's a day-by-day situation. If you're already in positions from the beginning of the year and you've taken profits, which I assume you should have if you haven't, and you have, then maybe I would be a little bit more patient here before I would start piling up. But I would think about the areas that will benefit from an economy opening up. And so that's why the transportation is still hot on the list.And even though we still have electric cars and electricity demand, and we're still looking at 3D printing, and we're still looking at solar stocks, etc., it looks like the traditional energy is more interesting at this point. And of course, we're still looking at these food commodities, and particularly some of the ag tech companies that are sort of floundering here, but doing very, very well. Blockchain technology. I think you have to pick your trend that you like.And then when you start to see, let's say, transportation holding up the market or the Fed coming in through the junk bonds, those two areas are really good to look at. Then you can go in and buy and put your stop against recent lows.
我们今天也谈到了黄金，因为金价在这两天是一直的是直线走低，已经下探了8个月的低位。黄金有很多人，特别是我们东方人是比较喜爱，但是一般的这个我们可能购买黄金产品呢是作为消费，但是如果作为投资，也应该适当的考虑是不是黄金也是您保险的投资的一个处置方式之一呢？那目前我们要怎么样来看待黄金价格走势的方向？
What I'm saying is that the inflation fears that we've been seeing more food-based, industrial metal-based, hasn't really at this point impacted the gold market. And yet at the same time, you also have the yields rising in the dollar firm recently, which is going to be somewhat negative for gold. But I wouldn't discount gold completely. At this point, it seems to maybe have found a little bit of support at these levels at around $1,700 an ounce. And I would think that, I was kind of thinking maybe it could drop another $100 and then it would be like a bargain. But even if it holds here at $1,700, there is some buying coming in right now, especially, again, if the stimulus passes or if the Federal Reserve makes any kind of announcement in terms of buying back bonds and controlling yields. So I wouldn't give up on the yellow metal just yet. It's just been something that people haven't really been paying attention to because they've been busy buying equities. And they've been buying some of the soft commodities and the industrial metals instead, like steel and copper. And Bitcoin as the sort of bizarre hedge for inflation, which would only work so far until it becomes more standardized. So yeah, I'm looking at gold right now as a potential. No skin yet, but we're looking.
最后告诉大家一个消息，就是芝加哥商品期交所已经向美国证监会申请了开始交易比特币 ETF 基金。那么也就是说，您能够不光比特币，但是又不会自己需要经过各种麻烦来去购买非常昂贵的这个比特币。通过这个基金的话，可能您能够更灵活的掌握一些这个投资的保险系数。但是能不能获得批准，当然还有待观察。获得批准之后呢，芝加哥商品期交所这个比特币的 ETF 基金将会成为美国的第一个 ETF 的比特币基金，在加拿大已经有了，开盘呢就是据说是交易不错。当然我个人是很有兴趣，也会不断的更新，告诉大家它的最新的进展。还有就是目前的疫情在扩展当中，疫苗不断出台，大家都已经开始有的普遍的接受到疫苗这个接种了。如果您还没有接受到疫苗接种的话，我看到一篇文章表示，要每天有规律的锻炼身体，增强活动力，也能够增强您的免疫力。所以这样呢，在您还没有轮到接种疫苗情况下，还是能够以这种方式来保护自己。以上就是今天的内容，谢谢您的收看。我们下次再见。
People from all walks of life filling up the crowd, defending Constitution, many warriors avowed, casting down any among us who have bucked and cowed. Enough with tyranny, we come to take our country back. For all citizens, white, red, brown, or black.